we invested at Operator Partners in 65 companies as angels in
Wow.
over 100 companies. So we do have the economies of scale in the sense of seeing so many stuff and repeating problems. And then we can also help connect to people in the network. You come to us with a problem, say, oh, they had a similar problem. Let's connect you to, and he can help you.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley in partnership with Leumi Tech and sponsored by Hippo Insurance, Turing, Upwest Labs, and Hillel at Stanford. I love it when serial entrepreneurs turn to VCs, bringing their value and insights to early-stage companies. Meet Amit Avner, General Partner at Operator Partners. Amit is a General Partner at Operator Partners, an early-stage fund that was started by Amit and the founders of Flatiron Health to invest and help operators on their journey. Prior to that, Amit was the founder and CEO of Taykey until its acquisition. Taykey was backed by top-tier funds such as Sequoia, SoftBank, and Eric Schmidt's innovation endeavors. Amit Avner, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. How are you today?
I am excellent. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. It's so cool talking to you in the context of where we are today, because last time we spoke, I believe, was maybe 6 years ago about potentially me coming as an intern for Taykey. I believe that I visited you in the offices in Tel Aviv. Since then, Taykey continued to grow in amazing ways, and through its acquisition, today you're running a VC fund, your general partner at Operator Partners. I was shocked to read in one sentence, the fund a few dozen millions of dollars. The second sentence, and the fund has already invested in a whopping 57 companies. I have no freaking clue how that's even possible. But before we talk about that, take me all the way back to your childhood and your personality, because one of the things that I was so impressed, when in preparing for this, is seeing the engineering mindset that you bring to everything, and your curiosity, and you being a builder. So take me all the way there.
Awesome. So fun being here. So I think that I was always building stuff. I put on my Twitter bio that I like building stuff with or without Lego blocks, because I was always into building stuff. And when I was actually in high school, I started building websites, and I even went to college and I got a computer degree while I was in high school. But I was interested in just building stuff, and I always view programming as just the fun things. You have different blocks and you can create different things, which is a fun thing to do. So that's kind of like how everything started in high school, and then throughout the army service. I kept being an engineer. I served in cyber, like everyone else in Israel, basically in tech.
Last time back to we're back to the IDF. That's where we stopped.
Back to the IDF. So in the IDF, I served in cyber, like everyone else in Israel. And when I finished with my army service, it was actually the first time I was joining social networks. And one of the things I've noticed is how there's so much data out there, and how people post everything they think about and dream about and want. And I just thought it would be an interesting way to take this data and build on top of it. And that's how Taykey ended up starting, because I just and it wasn't, oh, I want to start a company. Oh, was more like, this is interesting. There's a lot of cool data there. Let's try to do something cool with it.
Right. And so you're understanding that, the world is becoming a big data. And, this realization is coming at a time where data is only starting to get accumulated, right? When it's not, today it's pretty obvious that everything around us is data driven. But back then, when social networks were just starting, it wasn't clear that literally every single content we're creating is a piece of data that you can learn from.
Correct. It was the first time that people were sharing a ton of personal data or thoughts, and you made it accessible. Because before then, you could have a website, you could have a blog, but that had a high bar. For sharing a status message or a tweet, it became very easy, and there's become abundance of data. And that's the interesting part in the web over the last 10 or 15 years, where there's this abundance of data that can help create new products.
Right. So tell me, briefly run down the journey of Taykey. You're raising capital from some of the most incredible funds in the world. You have some amazing names, but one of my favorite VCs is Innovation Endeavors with the amazing Dror Berman and Eric Schmidt. Dror is a very close friend, and I'm not surprised at all that Taykey is in a portfolio there. But what was sort of the vision, and walk me through some of the most exciting, journeys as an entrepreneur that you remember, the really interesting things.
So I love being an entrepreneur. Building is fun, and I do have to say that each one of the investors we had, from Sequoia in Israel, Marker, Innovation Endeavors, SoftBank, they used to do early stage stuff. Everyone was amazing. For me, it's all about the people. It's about finding the people you want to work with and you want to be in a journey with. And every person that we had on this journey was just phenomenal and amazing. For us, when we started, it was about the data. It was about the abundance of data on the web and trying to use it to figure out trends using it. When we started the company, we thought, should we go into fintech? Should we go into ad tech? Should we go into helping to design products? And we ended up going into marketing, which was like a big deal when we started. And the growth of the company was phenomenal. Like within a year or two, I think we made $1 million in revenue. The year after we made 3, the year after we made 9. The growth was really, really cool. Building is fun. I moved to New York. I lived in New York for 10 years. And it was just like fun. For me, the best part about building a company was the people. Hiring amazing people, working with amazing people, hiring people who are way better than me in different things, and building a fun culture. I think one of the things that drives me the most today is when I still meet people who used to work at Taykey. They tell me it's the best workplace they ever had, and they miss Taykey days, and they want to be in Taykey again. When are we doing the next thing together? And just having around amazing people around you and working with them is something that I always loved, and that's a big fun part of entrepreneurship.
Was there a moment where you're as you're building Taykey, and I'm sure there were many of them, where you're confused, where you're saying like I'm facing a challenge here that I'm just not sure that I know how to solve right now, and it's time sensitive. You have to make a decision. You're the CEO. People are looking up to you, and all you're thinking is, I'm not sure that I know what to do at this point. What do you do then?
So I think the dirty little secret about startups is that from the outside, everything looks amazing. You see all these companies growing super fast. Everything looks amazing. They're raising a lot of money. But when you look on the inside, it's a bunch of duct tape that's holding everything together. And every company is always not just a bunch of duct tape. It's a bunch of people where you imagine like the wall and there's the water coming in. You just place your fingers. And I think the game is trying to move fast enough to plug all the holes, and new holes come up, and then you plug them, and you just keep doing this game. And I think the startups who win are those who keep plugging the holes fast enough before new holes come up, and that's kind of growth pains. So the answer is that I don't think you don't know anything. And every problem is so unique for a company, except the general stuff of hiring, selling. You have problems with your product, with your partners. Everything is just different. And I think it's about doing, it's about moving fast, it's about trying, failing, trying again, failing, trying again until you succeed. So as long as you're fast enough to understand problems, then you get good results, hopefully.
So you make a decision, turning from entrepreneur to investor, but not just the typical VC fund. You're saying we're going to be an early stage fund. We are not going to take board seats. We're going to help you with all the operations in between board meetings. That is sort of the pitch as to the big added value. And you do that across many, many companies now. What was it about your experience that showed you that this is something that, would provide a lot of value to early stage startups?
So in the early days of Taykey, we had really good advisors, and one of them is Zach Weinberg, who is now my partner in Operator Partners. And he just sold a company called Invite Media to Google, and he was super helpful for us thinking about go to market and hiring and interviewing candidates, because he was a few steps ahead of us. And we became friends, and as we started doing things, and he started his new company, Flatiron Health, I helped him find his CTO, Gil, who's also one of my partners, and Annette Turner, who was Zach's co-founder both in Invite Media and Flatiron, is my fourth co-founder for Operator Partners. We all worked together for a long time, and we all invest in companies together, and we just try to help out. And you see that companies have similar problems in the sense of growth. So it's about finding the right people, interviewing them, how to think about problems. The problems are unique for the company, but the way you're thinking and solving them is sort of similar and repeating. And we end up realizing that we can bring a lot of value to a company and to a CEO by being advisors. So we used to get equity for being advisors. Now we invest our money to become advisors of the company. It's kind of like the way we're seeing it.
Right. And so what is the actual, interaction that you have with the companies? First of all, you're spreading a lot on throughout a lot of companies. So how do you maintain actually a handle on all these companies? And how do you work together with the entrepreneur to figure out what exactly you can actually go into the details with? Because at the end, the meaningful help is in the details, right? It's in the actual problem that they're trying to solve. So how do you go about figuring out the priorities for that? Because it sounds to me like that's one of the biggest challenges that you might be facing.
So we built a different model. In this model, we decided we don't want to compete with VCs because there's plenty of really good VCs, and we're not competing with angels. We're coming in between, and that means that we need to, if we invest small checks, you need to invest in a lot of companies, but we also can invest all this time to due diligence because it's really hard if you want to invest in 60 companies. So we work with a handful of VCs that we really like and trust. We trust their diligence. We do meet a company. We do make our own decision, obviously, and we don't invest in every company we see, obviously. But we simplify the process by counting on someone else's diligence. When we do that, we do meet a company and we tell the CEOs, look, when we invest in you, here's our emails, here's our WhatsApp. Whenever you need anything, just come to us and we'll help. You want help interviewing a VP of marketing or a VP of product, how to find them? You want to think about M&A, you want to think about selling a company, buying a company, just come to us and we'll try to help. And it makes it super casual. We text with founders all day long. And then when we need to, we do a phone call with them or a video call with them, but we make it super casual. We make it kind of what we wanted to have when we ran companies. Just like sometimes it's more about just texting people and being in the loop, and then things move really, really fast. So it also simplifies it because we get company updates like that, and we always kind of know what's happening all the time. So it's really easy when there's a problem to loop us in and when we try to help out.
So what it sounds to me is that you're taking the formality of the board meetings that would happen on a monthly or quarterly basis, and you're simplifying it to a daily operation where you are actively helping a sort of like a day-to-day board that is sort of an advisor, sort of a partner, entrepreneur, right? I mean, it's like all that mishmash, but at the end, it's very tangibly helping them with the day-to-day decisions that might not even make it to the board meeting because it's so far out that it becomes irrelevant by that time.
Correct. It's exactly that. We're just trying to give the immediate, quick solve for problems from our experience. And all we bring is just like more of a crowdsourced data of things we saw. We invested at Operator Board in 65 companies as angels in over 100 companies. So we do have the economies of scale in the sense of seeing so many stuff and repeating problems. And then we can also help connect to people in the network. You come to us with a problem, say, oh, they had a similar problem. Let's connect you to, and he can help you. So that's a lot of the value we can help and bring. And the idea is we want to be on the entrepreneur side, on the founder side. We've been there. We just feel like we know what we needed, and that's what we're trying to bring back to the table.
Right. So pattern recognition. Share with me a few insights you've gained already by, through the companies, either as an angel or through the 65 companies as operator partners. What are you observing? What are some of the common, themes that are going on, sort of the common decision-making points that people need help on? Because I think it's a fascinating idea to do this at economies of scale and to be able to see these patterns across many different companies.
I think the two interesting things I would say, everyone has the hiring problem. Hiring great people is always hard. But the interesting thing is it's not just about finding the great people, it's also finding the great people who are a fit for you. And it's something that someone could have an amazing resume, could be an amazing person, might not be a fit for your company culture. So I think that's something we do try to help people with, so try to understand their own culture and what's going to be a fit and not going to be a fit for their culture. So it's something that I think is repeating. The other one is thinking about markets correctly. So, I'm not going to say anything too revolutionary by saying you want a great team in a giant market, and then you assume the great team in a giant market will move around. But when there's a really giant market, sometimes you want to make sure you focus on things in the market, because if it's really, really big and there's so many opportunities, you also spread too thin. So staying focused on everything. If it doesn't work, keep pivoting and moving around, but trying to be focused when you do execute something.
Right. Now, Amit, the whole first part of this conversation, you're talking about, yourself, how you love the entrepreneurship, and you're meeting people that worked at Taykey, and they're saying, we want to come back and work on another company together, and how, exciting that whole journey is, and how excited you are by working with early stage entrepreneurs, understanding what they're going through, and getting fulfilled from working with them through those issues. Isn't there a part of you that wants to do it again, that wants to start another Taykey, that wants to go on this whole ride again?
Of course, there is. There's a big part. I think one fun thing is now I get a kick because I get to spend my week just meeting exciting entrepreneurs and talking about fun problems. And I do want to get. But it's weird because first time in my life that I'm in the back seat and I'm not driving, and it's just different. I do miss driving, but I really, really enjoy what I'm doing right now. And I think the answer is that I'll find the middle ground. Like I will probably over time get involved in a few companies, maybe in a chairman role or stuff like that, that will get me way more involved. So I can just get the kick of running company. And you know what? Maybe in the future I want to run my own company again. I'm right now enjoying what I'm doing, and I'll keep adapting. That's I think the entrepreneur way of life. Just keep changing into what you need at the right time.
Completely. And what is it about operator partners that that you're really excited about? Is it the partnering with the entrepreneurs? Is it more of the capital side? Is it more of the finding them and seeing their journey throughout the years? Well, what really gets you excited about this opportunity?
It's, you know what? It's just so much fun. It's just about having fun. So I basically work with a bunch of my good friends. They're super smart. We talk about interesting companies together, and we get involved in some journeys that we like. And it's just fun and easy, and it doesn't feel like work. I don't believe in working. Taking never felt like work. It was fun. And feels like fun, just easy. I wake up in the morning, meet cool companies, then talk to my friends and talk and discuss with cool companies. Like, what could be better than that? It's just fun.
That's exactly what it sounds like, and I think that just from my perspective, seeing somebody who is a successful entrepreneur, who's an engineer at heart, who's a problem solver at heart, going from very technical to building a company, and then taking these understandings and these insights and moving on to scaling them and doing them in an economy of scale and following. I can't believe 65 investments you said, which is pretty remarkable, and I don't think I'll ever understand how you managed to juggle 65 investments, especially when they're all on WhatsApp. But I love the idea of a model where it's more of casual day-to-day deliberation. It's reducing the formality, making yourself accessible, and you becoming a true partner of the companies.
Yeah, I think the one thing I have to say though about juggling 65 companies, and we'll have a lot more over time, is that basically once you have a bunch of people in the fund, and we each deal with different companies, help different companies different times based on their needs, because we all have different expertise. It makes it very easy, right. And when you do it over text, it makes it very, very easy. And I think that you'll speak to each one of our companies and tell you how much we've been helpful, and that's the important part for me. Getting the good the good customer review from our portfolio companies about we're being there when they need us. So as long as we can keep doing that, we're going to be thrilled.
And I have no doubt that they're very, very happy. Amit, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. I have some fun questions now that I have to ask you. So we'll go through them. First, a role model, somebody that you find fictional or non-fictional, somebody that you gain inspiration from, and why.
Okay, I'm going to give you the super cheesy, obvious answer, but it's going to be Bill Gates. And always as a kid, I have to say, I know it sounds cheesy, but as a kid, like it really inspired me to be an entrepreneur, like seeing Microsoft. And I think Microsoft is a company that's really enabled personal computing and the internet as it's today. And then when Bill Gates became wealthy enough, he took his qualities as an amazing entrepreneur and put it into helping the world and building his nonprofit organization that actually helps people. And I just love it. It's like a real life Iron Man, in my opinion.
A real life Iron Man. I love that. Okay, and now favorite subject in school? It can be any school from K to post university.
Any school. I'd say English. And it's funny. Maybe it's because my mom is an English teacher. Maybe it's because I use English all the time. But I think one of the reasons is that English is a fun class, because when you go to class, you need to learn the language, and they teach you you do different exercises. So it's very broad. You learn some history, you learn some you learn some history, you learn some grammar, you learn just all kind of different things because you have to listen. You listen to things, you listen to content. So it's just like listening to podcasts because you have all these writing essays and you learn how to write. To me, it's just such the Swiss Army knife of classes because you do so many different things in it. So it's fun.
I love it. And the most difficult question of all, but the most interesting one, 3 words that you would use to describe yourself. Or if I ask anybody that works with you, whether it's in Taykey or in Operator Partners, what are 3 words that they would say, Amit Avner?
Okay, so my 3 words would be optimism, because I don't think you can build company or investment without being optimistic. Data, I'm very data driven. I think everything I look at and decide is based on data. And clarity, which is the importance of clear communication, organized, and having things very honest, clear, and setting expectations. It's really, really important to me because I think if you communicate well, everything else is solved.
I love it. Amit, thank you very, very much. Toda rabba. This was just wonderful. Stay safe and stay healthy. I love the concept of what you're building. And again, most of all, I love the idea that you're taking your own passion as an entrepreneur and you're channeling it through now at an economies of scale to many other entrepreneurs. The idea of just having fun and having fun, all across the board, from the due diligence side to the WhatsApp communication side, and getting those customer reviews from happy entrepreneurs. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Take care.